name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about no matter where you run, you just end up running into yourself. So I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Details will be in the description and on the screen. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to message me, Mr. Mitchell Tang, a direct message on Instagram, I know, or leave a comment down below. Hit the like, share it with your friends, let them know about this. I'm out here trying to help everybody out to have a better future for themselves, right? You gotta live with yourself for the rest of your life. Why not enjoy it? So, anyways, I do have a recap, and the recap is on what gives you energy. So if you guys want to check that out, it's over there. And I have 5 slides that I want to talk about today. So it's one is running away. Two, it's pointing fingers. A lot of people like to do that. Pretending to be someone you are not. Letting go. And allow yourself to be free. I didn't write these in a specific order or anything. I kind of just wrote it down. What popped in. Certain things that could relate to you. So, anyways, let's talk about the recap on what gives you energy and what you enjoy. So, do you enjoy yourself? Do you enjoy yourself? Who's J8? I think that's Jenny. What's up? Okay. So, what gives you energy? And what do you enjoy? Excuse me. Okay. That's blueberries. All right. So, do you enjoy yourself? Audit that. And that will give you an idea, an area of your life that you can improve on. So if there's certain places or certain things that you find that you don't enjoy, whatever's creating this resistance for yourself, I want you guys to understand that whatever's kind of holding you back, and whatever you're resisting, because what you resist persists, and what you look at disappears. So I want you to say that with me, okay? Just say that with me. Whatever you resist persists, and what you look at disappears. So if it's what's up, Sarah? If there's a certain person or a fear of, like, maybe going up on stage everyone's gonna think about, yeah, you're on stage, but you know what? Most of the time, people don't really care, and they're too worried about themselves to really care about what's really in front of them. Now, if you do something to offend somebody, then yeah, absolutely, then it will be about them. But everyone's favorite topic is themselves anyways, right? So you don't really have to worry about other people's opinions too much. But then, it's not just about not worrying, it's about finding a solution, because somebody could just tell you don't do this or don't do that or don't do X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't really give you a solution. Anyways, audit yourself. Give yourself a reason to be yourself, really. And it doesn't mean stay stagnant. Don't stop being where you're at and stay where you're at. It means become better than where you are at now by improving on the person you want to be. That's it. If you want to be a person that is light, well, what do people do that are light in a genuine way, where you're not trying to get something out of it, but it's more about being able to give something for it. Okay, so anyways, moving on this recap. What will life be like if I stayed exactly where I am at now? Well, I have all the things that I want, things I want to achieve. The best relationship you can ever have is a relationship you have with yourself. And that cannot be any more true, which is why when you love yourself and you allow yourself to be yourself, you're setting yourself free. It's a very freeing. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like you being a kid and you don't care about what anyone's thinking about, or when you're a little bit older, you start drinking alcohol, and then you're just having a good time, but then you don't want to be dependent on alcohol so that you can have a good time and be yourself and be loose and not worry about what another person thinks, right? So how do you tap in that without drinking that? You know what I mean? Okay. Chevelin, you said that is true. I've been like that before. Always worry about what people think of me. I know. And here's the thing. Most people don't care. And if you ask them a question and if they take it like, okay, so here's an example. Yesterday I was at the gym. When I was at the gym, I was like I was just dancing. I had my headphones on. I didn't want to just distract people. So one of my friends walked in and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "No, I'm just dancing right now. I'm just doing a little dance." And he was like, "Oh, go do your thing." And it just felt kind of weird because I was listening to music and my friend was just watching me without hearing the music at all. And then he was like, I was like, "Yo, you know what? I'm just gonna plug it in. I don't think it's gonna hurt anybody. I'm just gonna blast the music." But there were other people in the room. I think there was like two girls or something like that. Anyways, I was like, "Hey, you guys won't mind if I just plug in my music and dance, right?" They was like, "No, no, no, go do your thing. Go ahead, whatever." So most people are okay if you ask them. Now, the alternative is they would have been upset and be like, "No, don't distract me." And if they were to say that, I will respect that because I respect people's, and because it's not my room, I can't just own it, right? And if they said that to me, I would have been like, "Oh, okay, you know what? It's fine, right? I figure out a way. I will figure out a way." So it's about finding solutions, not focusing on a problem. But like I said, most people when you ask them certain things, they're usually okay with it. Anyways, the best relationship you can ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. You don't, you won't have a happy, healthy relationship with someone if your relationship with yourself is toxic. So, you guys already heard it, but good little reminder. And most people always try to find happiness outside of themselves to fill in the void, but what isn't yours will never be yours. And I I watched something recently where Julian was talking about, and I wish I had a pen and paper on me. But anyways, think of a dot in the middle, and then there's a circle, and there's even a bigger circle. What usually happens is with the circle, that little dot in the middle, that's you and you're the cause. And if you're the cause, most people try to fill in the void from the outer circle, which is like, you know, looking for approval, seeking attention, trying to justify how you feel by other people's approval. If I do this, then I'll be happy. If I have money, then I'll be happy. Or if I find this girl, that will make me happy. Or boyfriend, or whatever, right? And it's always trying to find that happiness from somebody else in order for you to feel happy. And if you don't have that person in your life or a person, you will feel inadequate. You will feel like you're not good enough, and that's not true. And then there's another part, which is the second layer, which is finding all these self-help and positive quotes and everything else, and that's great because that's a step closer than filling in voids with just like drinks, alcohol, maybe even like drugs and stuff like that. Like that's a lot better. You're moving towards something and you're actually reading about good quotes and all this. But what ends up happening is you fall into this trance of, "Oh, I'm just going to hear these great quotes but not do anything about it." That doesn't do anything. What you really need to do is you got to focus within. You got to tap into the part where what is your voice? What does your voice always tell you? So that's why I always say, like, try to sit down in silence and listen to your voice. And what does your voice tell you? Like, honestly, what does it honestly tell you? Because too often we always come back and we always try to figure out a way to distract us, whether it's, "Oh, I got to turn on the music. Oh, I got to read a book. Or I got to open up. I got to do something when I go home," to distract us. And if your own subconscious mind is telling you things that you don't want to hear, then you got to change that dialogue. But you can't just change the dialogue without changing yourself. And you can't change yourself without understanding why your dialogue speaks that way to yourself, because that's your subconscious mind. So you want to understand, what are you telling yourself when you're quiet? So that's why it's so important to understand that. Anyways, that was part of the recap. I'm going to be talking about running away now, right? So I want to start out with a quote, which is, "Trust in yourself. You're the only one you can truly count on, regardless of where you are in life or who is in it for the time being." So people come and go. People come and go in your life. and it's unfortunate sometimes, and sometimes it's a blessing depending on who it is. But don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. It's because it's not about you, it's about how they feel. And what you can do is understand, maybe, okay, was there a certain way that I acted that made them feel the way they feel, which is why they left. So that's a better question than just being upset as to why they just left. And that way you can become better and you start attracting better people. And then when you become better, more and more people will want to be around you. It's then at that point you have your own choices. You have your own choice on whether or not you want to be around them, right? So, like I said, people like to fill in voids, right? Do XYZ for certain things, make money, so I can feel like this, meet a certain someone, or drink this, or take a certain substance. And many people focus on life's simple pleasures way too often. They forget the bigger picture, or maybe they're too naive about it. And you know, and that's why misery loves company, is because you get all these type of people that gets together and all they do is talk about another person, and it's like it doesn't get you anywhere. It, if anything, it's a false feeling of feeling good. It's because there's really no future in talking smack about another person. Like where you gonna get from that? Where you gonna get from that? And then in reality, you turn around, they're gonna be talking about you. So you can't change what the heart feels, but what you can do is accept yourself and allow yourself to be free. So remember when I said, only I didn't say this, but when I did say it, I think it was this a stoic approach. I forgot who said it. Okay, it's bad on my end. Um, only the educated is set free. It means that you got to educate yourself. So whether it's in books and then you apply it and you start looking within, and I like what Julian said, Julian himself, because he talked about this layer. Okay, there's the conscious and the subconscious, and then what we do know is the 10% on the very top. That's what we're conscious of. But then and I'll get into it later, but then you get this consciousness of telling yourself certain things, this false idea. But then deep down in your subconscious, let's just say that's like 90%, and that little 10% is up there and that's yours. This 90%, there's still that connection. Like you keep telling yourself, you're good enough, you're better, and all this. But then your subconscious mind, deep down, you're always beating yourself up, and it's like unless you change the dialogue in the subconscious, your dialogue in your conscious is only fake, and you can only fake it so far until you get drained. So why not approach it authentically and genuinely, so that when you do approach it, you're like, my subconscious mind doesn't hold me back anymore. It tells me that, when you do fail, it's okay, and you will get better. Just give it some time, give it some patience, but don't stay where you are. Become better. Understand what you can do to become better so that you don't make the same mistakes again. So that's, I'm slowly reaching to a different area of my life where, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Not everything is that bad. And it's okay. If that person come in front of you, that's okay. Like, hey, maybe they're in a bigger rush than me. But as long as my safety isn't compromised, I'm okay. Right? So, allow yourself to be free. So, if there's a problem that is there, you have to accept that it is there, and that the problem is there. Whether it's in you or another person. What whether it is in you or in another person's, because some of the things you can't control. You can't control how another person should feel, but what you can control is, do I want to be around that person? So that's really up to you in that sense. But you get to choose on who you want to be around and who you don't want to be around, and then you will be set free. Okay, because you could be you. And I want to tell you that story that was telling you about, that I heard from Julian earlier. Anyways, if you don't know where to start, look from a place where you feel the most resistance. If you don't know where to start, look from a place where you feel the most resistance. It's getting hot. Where is this resistance coming from? Is it coming from another person? Is it you? Are you? What's your dialogue like? Are you saying certain things? And when you dive deep into when you view things. How do you view it? Do you view it in a positive note, or do you view it as, you know what, it won't ever work? Why should I ever do it? Right? Because if you keep telling yourself that, what you focus on expands. That's it. If you always focus on things that won't work, guess what? Things won't work. All right. So, yeah, like I said, who is that person? How do they make you feel? And it's this person yourself, because your own dialogue, that's you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. But you get to choose what you want to do. Now, some people may argue that, what is the point of living that way? We're all gonna die anyways. Yes, no one here makes it out alive. No one. No one. Okay? No matter how much but you've given the greatest lottery of all time. Okay? Everybody here won a lotto. Okay? It means that you swam faster than everybody else in that ball sack. And you made it. And that's why you're here today. Okay? But why not value that? Why not live a life that is worth living for yourself? Because that's what really life is. It's focusing on your happiness. Yeah, Sarah, you made it too. Congratulations. Michael Phelps. All right. So pointing fingers. And a lot of people like to point fingers because they get defensive. And what usually happens behind that is, behind anger is fear. And it's a fear of something. And humans, we have two greatest fears: fear that we're not going to be loved, whether it's an intimate partner or just other people, and two, feeling the fear of being inadequate and that we're not enough. So not being loved and that we're not good enough. And those are usually our biggest fears. Now you can fear other things too, but those are the two primary ones. So if that's a fear that you have, what's something that you could look at so you could focus on that, so you're not fearful of that? I could tell you one of my biggest fears before was to talk to people. I couldn't talk to girls, okay? Horrible. And then I couldn't drive for a very, very long time. Spiders and being kidnapped. Okay. Um yeah. Of course, nobody wants to get kidnapped, but spiders, if you're afraid of spiders, what if that spider was trapped in a cage and you stared at it long enough, right? I'm not saying that you have to like it, but I'm just saying, find a way where you're not so fearful of something that's foreign, even though a spider isn't foreign. It just looks weird, okay? I get it. So, what most people do is they like to avoid conflict. So, from within, so we start naming things and naming it and placing it on other people. It gives you the heebie-jeebies. But what most people do is they like to avoid conflict. And if they avoid it by, I think it's called displacement, or when they place it on another person or another thing, or blame it on something else, then it wouldn't be their problem. So you wouldn't have to be disappointed. But too many times we've been running away from all these things thinking that it is okay. And it's not, because then you're living this temporary life for the rest of your life. You never really get to be yourself. So be yourself, but don't stay where you're at. Become better than where you are. So, yeah, it is easier to run away, and but when you ignore it, like, the reality is still there. You're still fearful of certain things. I was fearful of going live. I couldn't talk in front of people, and eventually I got used to it. But there I feel like right now there has to be a different approach so that I can become better. Maybe it's my speech. Maybe it's the cadence that I have, or maybe it's my tone. Whatever it is, I need to work on that. But then you get to enjoy the process, and that's lovely. So I love it. I just like talking to people. Right now, I have less of a fear of approaching people. I just don't really care much about what they think about me. Yo, what's up, JR? There's a difference between being good enough and not good for you, to a point where you choose to compromise your values. Yeah, we all know what happens when we start compromising our values and the things that we like. I can't talk in front of a lot of people. Okay, so you know what's actually a really interesting story? So most people learn more from encouragement. And I'm not calling out my brother, okay, even though I kind of am. Anyways, it was my niece's birthday a few days ago, and she had this fear of ordering things in front of people, and she gets really shy. So, what I saw was, I was like, he was like, "Yo, you can't be afraid from other people. Like, if you want to be whatever in life, you gotta go for it. You just gotta go. You just do it." And I'm like, I don't think that's a very encouraging for your daughter to do that. And I wanted her to become better so that she could go up and talk to people. And so to make it more comfortable, I quote unquote was holding her hand through it. So I put my hand around my niece. She's 11. Put my arm around her, and I was like, my niece would like to order something. I was like, what do you want? And she ordered, no problem. And then she ordered again, but this time I didn't put my arm around her. I was like, I was like, can you order me something? She was like, what do you want, Uncle Mitchell? I was like, can I have the boba? I want the boba. Yeah, yeah, with milk tea boba. That's it. Okay, so she ordered for me and herself. But you see what type of encouragement can do when it's uplifting versus like suppressing somebody and holding them down, right? Or just yelling at them. And I think, I think everybody has their approach. I just I just wanted to see if, that gently leading would encourage her. And if she wasn't ready for that, maybe I could recalibrate it to a certain way so that she could go and face that, right? And then little by little, she could become better. And that's my goal. I want to see the people that I care about become better than where they are at now. So, niece, I'm proud of you. Niece, I am proud of you. Let me take a sip. Cheers. All right. Now, when we point fingers, the real problem is you got so much clutter and so much mess that you have that's right behind you that when you look back, you get overwhelmed. And you start seeing so many things like, damn, I have all these things that I need to do that I have to focus on. And I don't even know where to start because there's so many things that's wrong with me. Well, guess what? That's why writing things down is so helpful because it helps organize your thoughts. If you're organized, quote unquote, organized at work, why can't you? I hope you are. But so why can't you organize your thoughts in your personal life? That way you could carry that out. And those are your values. And this is how you can operate through life no matter where you are at, whether it's professional, your personal life, your finance. You could organize those in a certain way where it becomes your benefit so that you could approach it in a way, more organized manner. That's why, in an area that I work in, I like to have that organized. So, when I wake up, I like to fix my bed. I want to make sure that that's the first thing I fix before I go do something else. It carries on through the rest of the day, right? And you do that multiple times, guess what? It's going to become a habit. And we all know what habits can form. Habits will form confidence as long as you're persistent and you're consistent. You continue to do the things that you need to do. So it's those little tiny things that people overlook. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, right? People overlook that, but if you don't brush your teeth one day and you start saying hello to a lot of people and a lot of H words, yeah, people's not going to really want to talk to you, right? Be like, your breath stinks. Yeah, yeah. Tedious things. Keep doing that. Become better at it. Anyways, so that's usually where the real problem lies. And it's always easier to run away and escape every time than to look at the mess that you created. You have to own the mess that you created. Look, there's a whole bunch of shit behind me. Well, guess what? Let me start picking things one thing at a time. And you find it that if you do that every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you start cleaning up the mess that you have, and you start focusing on the little things, in about a few months, your life will feel totally different. And it's all because you started looking at the things that you were fearful of. Okay. So while majority of us act in ways that it's not true to ourselves, the truest form is to be yourself and whatever weird quirks that you have. It's being yourself and accept who you are. And once you accept who you are, well, guess what? There's going to be other people that's going to accept you for who you are. And if they don't take it personal. There's going to be other people. You will find your tribe. And that's the beauty of it. Because guess what? Mitchell's fucking weird. He was fucking weird. But I was told my entire life that I couldn't be certain things and I couldn't do certain things. And, it was very discouraging. But then I realized, like, this is what I like and this is what I enjoy. So, like, why do I need to please other people? And I guess you could say I just started doing some things that would be quote unquote cool, but it wasn't cool. Like, I didn't start out dancing great. Um, I didn't know how to dance, so I started jumping, but I was having so much fun. I was like, that this makes me feel good about myself, right? Like, yeah, I like doing this. And I didn't know it was getting better. I just enjoyed it. And that's usually what happens. So, like, it's like Pokemon. Like, come on. Most people, if they come in here, they'll be like, what the are you talking about? You're talking about relationships, but back in the backdrop, you have nothing but Pokemon. I don't know what to say to that. But guess what? This is what I like. This is who I am. And if I can, I will have shoes and everything, and which is what you're gonna be seeing on my next backdrop later on. But I'm being me, and I get to be me. And if you like it, you will accept me for who I am. But it doesn't mean that you stay where you're at. It means that you will become better than where you are at now by accepting where you're at and what you like and what you enjoy. Okay? So if you like Star Wars, love Star Wars. If you like Pokemon, love Pokemon and embrace that quirk that you have. That is the truest form of confidence. It's being you. And that's why being around people that allows you to be yourself is so freeing. You don't have to think about it. The last thing you want is to be around someone that when you're doing a certain thing and they look at you kind of like, why you do that, right? It's like, okay, then you're just trying to kill my vibe. I ain't trying to mess. I'd rather do this by myself and find like-minded people because JR, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. So this also works the other way around, where you're around someone that doesn't allow you to be yourself, right? That's the other side of the coin. It's mentally draining and it's physically draining, and it does not allow you to be you. So when you're allowed to be yourself, you will be yourself, and that's the truest form of confidence. And that's why, like I said, sometimes most people they they opt to alcohol because then they could be themselves. You ever notice that alcohol brings out this lack of self-conscious thought where you're like, oh, I gotta be cool, I gotta be cool. Like, everyone's trying to be cool. It's not cool. The coolest way of truest form of confidence is being yourself and owning up to that. Owning up to it. And if you believe in it yourself enough, other people will believe it. But I'm not talking about a sense of false belief. I'm saying, like, own where you are at now. Know that there are certain things that you need to work on. Move towards that. Like Chevelin, I don't feel comfortable talking in front of people. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. Well, guess what? If I see you, Chevelin, I am going to make you say hi to random freaking strangers. I'll be like, you're gonna say hi to that person with the glasses. If you don't, I'm gonna make them talk to you. And you're gonna feel even more uncomfortable until you start feeling the understanding. Like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Hey, my friend wants to say hi to you. She's a little shy. That's it. Move on. Okay? People enjoy it. And we all feel that same feeling, right? But too many times we're trying to conceal it. And when you're trying to conceal certain things, you're not really allowing yourself to be you. Okay? Um, so which is my next topic, pretending to be someone that you're not. Because it's easier, like I said, to run away and look at the mess, right? And us as humans, we all do more to avoid pain, which is the pain of maybe being embarrassed, maybe the pain of someone thinking about you. But guess what? Most people won't remember you. Like, no one is more important than yourself. Like I said, you won't remember what I'm going to be talking about in the next 2 days. unless you go back to it, or unless I make you feel a certain way about a certain topic, and then you're like, this is what resonated with me, right? Like, you won't remember this, but what you will carry on is, if you continue to do the things that you do, you will only get better. Okay, so start saying hi to random strangers. I couldn't do that before, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say hi. I'm just gonna say hi. Look at the eyes, get the eye color so that you can make eye contact. Little things like that build that confidence up. And still, I'm human, okay? So I do get a little like, I don't feel like doing it sometimes. But then I find myself to find that center again, and I'm like, how do I approach this now? How, right? Be your own hype person, if you will, okay? So like I said, being cool isn't cool because one, everyone's trying to do it, and two, it doesn't come off as real. It doesn't come off as authentic. And we, as people, we connect with people that is authentic, that is real, and they like what they do. And it's, if just so happened they're good at it, well, it's because they've been doing that for a very long time, right? Like I said, I was a very, very poor dancer. I'm not even saying I'm a professional dancer. I just like doing it because I don't want to be on a treadmill. Okay? You won't catch me on a treadmill very often unless I'm training for a specific thing. Uh, all my cardio comes from my legs at dancing because I find it. I could dance for 2 hours. I can't run for 10 minutes. Okay, unless I'm running towards something. Okay, maybe a line, and I'm waiting for some shoes, and I'm like, ooh, I could get some shoes. But, anyways, let's move on. So, being cool isn't really cool. Being yourself is fucking cool. But by being yourself, it doesn't feel like society has told us so many ways that, oh, this is how you act so that you could be cool. It's like going into the classroom first day of school. You remember those days where you have to dress the best, and everyone's like looking at you and this and that. Like, most people don't give a shit. Most people don't. And they're too worried about themselves anyways, and that's absolutely true. But the moment you start saying like, oh, do I have to fix this? Do I have to fix that? It goes out the door. So then your conscious mind focus on things that isn't really that important. What's more important is you as a person. Most people don't care what you have dressed. They care about who you are as a person and how you make them feel, right? Them, the other person. So if you make them feel heard, if you're willing to listen, which most people don't, then they're more willing. Like, you guys won't care what I wear. Like, I'm trying to find different clothes so that I don't just always look like the guy that wears the same shirt. But there's going to be a week where I'm going to wear the same shirt over and over and over and over just to prove a point. Okay? But I am going to wash it. Okay? I don't want to smell bad, but no one cares. They just want to know who you are as a person. Now, if you just smell really bad, it's like, yo, Mitchell, like, can you take a shower or something? Like, you're starting to smell really bad. Then, yeah, okay, that's different. But people care about you as a person. Okay? Now, owning your quirks. Embrace your uniqueness. Big reason why. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I like to hang out with certain people. And hanging around with like Justin in the beginning, he taught me a lot of things, and I got to learn. I got to learn how he spoke to people and how he puzzled words. And what I enjoy most about that was I got to learn. I wasn't judged by it, and if I'd be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" He wasn't condescending or anything. He would teach me, and that's great. And we're all supporting each other. We're all helping each other, whether you're conscious of that or not. He was helping me. And same thing with JR. When I got to hang out with JR after a decade long, I finally got to do the things that I always wanted to do, right? Like, JR, if you're watching this, remember that one time we were at Japantown and we just like busting out laughing and not giving a rat's ass about the world of what other people would think about us, because we were like, hey, yo, just go up there and just do some random shit and see what type of reaction, and then see if you can adapt to that situation and how well you can adapt to that. Like, and then we had so much fun doing it that like we started like grunting and started like screaming, and people were like, yo, what the hell? But we all know we're not weird. I mean, we are, to a certain degree, but we were accepting with ourselves. And also, remember that other time when we walked into this acai bowl place and that guy was like, yo, I don't know what this is, but I want to know why you guys are having such a good time. And it's because we were just out having a good time talking about ideas, certain things that could keep us moving forward. So you allowed me to be me even more. So I want to thank you for that. So I really do appreciate all the times that when we got to hang out. And it was always fun. And I do miss our hangouts. So, but that's allowing me to be me. And you got to be you. And imagine we have like 10 other people in that same category. So allowing yourself to be yourself where you're most comfortable, being around the people that allows you to be most comfortable. And uh I want to talk about letting go, which is my next slide. But the funny thing was, so this is the story. This is the story that I want to tell you about Julian. So Julian, the guy that I was watching on YouTube, he's I don't know if he was like a pickup artist or anything before, but what he teaches is very straightforward. Okay, and the things he says is kind of like, it will make people like, why would you talk about it? But the way he approaches it, it's still funny to a point where it's like they don't mind listening to it. Anyways, there was a story, and he was in Washington, Seattle, Washington, and I don't know, was he doing a presentation or something, but there was this guy that said, he was like, he owned up to himself, but he was so self-conscious of it. And after he said that story, I was like, yeah, I could see why he wouldn't want to tell that story, but he finally let it go. So he was like, I like being like this guy that he was telling the story about. He was like, I like being fucked by, by animals. Like, human penises just doesn't do it for me. So imagine that degree, right? And then I was like, so he didn't know what to do. So he set up this Craigslist form, and out of nowhere, he got like 12 other guys, I guess. And then they all went to this barn or whatever, farm or whatever. And they all had this, I guess you could call it an orgy. You know, the sad part is, you know, um, one person that got pushed a little bit too far, ruptured something, and got rushed to the hospital. And it's a sad story. I should not be smiling or laughing, but anyways, he didn't make it out alive, right? But the moral of the story is, if that person could find 12 other people that's willing to be screwed by animals in this barn or farm or whatever, then I'm pretty sure that you could be accepted for the things that you like. Okay, whether it's Sanrio, whether it's Pokemon, whether it's vegan food, or just only meat only, like keto, right? There's always going to, no matter what type, like if you could worship a freaking snail, I'm pretty sure there's people out there that love snails just as much as you do. Okay, or I don't believe in shoes, right? So you're barefoot your entire life. Like, I'm pretty sure you could find someone that's like, oh, me too. You know what? Fuck shoes. Fuck shoes. Yeah, right. And then you're gonna start finding a group of people and saying, fuck shoes. Maybe sandals only, right? There's going to be that uniqueness to yourself. So you gotta own that uniqueness. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Own that uniqueness. You're gonna find your own tribe. People will people will like you for who you are, right? But like I said, it doesn't mean stay where you are. It means that where you are at now, accept that and then move towards that and become better for yourself, and you will find your own tribe. And if other people don't accept that, well, guess what? They don't belong there. And that's the beauty of it. They don't need to be there. And you will be accepted. But you also have to be patient, and you also really have to enjoy what you do. Me as in Pokemon. And talking about relationships. I love talking about relationships. I love hearing about people's problems and what we can do to figure this out together as a team so that you will be at a better place, right? So, letting go. The more you search for approval, the more affected you are by disapproval. So I want you guys to understand that. The more you seek for approval, like I need outside people to let me know that I am worthy. So the moment one person, so let's just say 100 people approves me, and then one person walks by and says, "You know what? I don't really like you. I don't like the things that you do." I am going to be more affected by disapproval from that one person as opposed to, it's kind of like losing $50, but you gained 100. Like you were still, like, let's just say you gained $100 and then you lost 50. You're most likely going to start thinking, I could have just walked away and had $100 in my pocket, but I only made 50. Like, to a lot of people, making $50 is it's pretty good for doing nothing, right? For doing almost nothing. But you're focusing on the negative side, on what you could have made rather than what you already have. So I want you guys to really listen to your own dialogue and go home one day and do not do anything. Go home, put down your bag, and just sit down and just listen to the dialogue when you first come home. Because then, and you do that with consistency, then you start jotting things down. What are you saying to yourself? And once you guys could understand that, then you can work towards it. Okay. But anyways, letting go. So like listening to this podcast or reading books, attending lectures, like I said before, it won't do any good if it doesn't become your identity. If it's not who you are. It needs to be you. And it's not just by the doing, right? If I told you to just go to the gym because it's healthier, yeah, you would do it, maybe. And if you do it, do it, then it wouldn't be consistent. You wouldn't really hold a lot of value. But then when you start doing it with consistency, you're like, okay, I do it because I know it's good. But when you build it into your identity and you want to become a better person because you just want to live a better life for yourself, well, you're just going to do that automatically. It's kind of like autopilot. You don't really think about it anymore. So this is why it must start with you, and you must focus on the root of the cause, and the cause is you, right? So remember that little dot in the middle, and there's that two circle. The most outer circle is seeking for approval, having justifications, validations from other people, getting the "oh my god, you're so good, yeah, yeah, yeah." Okay, yeah, that, just remember that is temporary, and if you're always aiming for that, and the moment you don't get it, like I said, the more you search for approval, the more affected you are by disapproval. Okay, and then the inner circle is the attending lectures, listening to podcasts like this, and whatever. But if you just listening and it doesn't become you, it's still not going to affect you. It's not going to be you, and it's not gonna be sustainable. The root, the cause is you. It's that dot in the middle, and that is yourself. And which is why you want to work towards a place where you're understanding the root cause. What is my voice telling me? What is my subconscious telling me? And are you always trying to reach towards something so that you can become something? What are you like what are you currently doing? What are you currently saying? And I'm keep on repeating this because it's so important. What are you saying to yourself? And I would love to hear it. What do you Write it down? Let me know what you are currently thinking about, what you're currently feeling. And then listen to that dialogue. Okay? Now, true confidence is allowing yourself, but too often we're restricted by the people around us. So we start to overthink about things and we don't allow ourselves to be ourselves. And then we overthink. And when we overthink, we try to be cool. And when you try to act cool, you're not really being cool. Right? Truest form of confidence is actually being you, being who you are and who you want to be without a single fuck about the world. You don't care. You're not hurting nobody. You're just being you. You're just having a good time. You're laughing. So, meet like minded people. You'd be surprised how okay people are as long as you are okay with yourself. You'd be surprised. But if you're too conscious about thinking about other things, then it's like, then what you think, it will affect them and it will come back to you, and it's like, oh my god, I can't be myself anymore. So like I said, try your best to find the people that's like-minded with what you're interested in and what you like, because then it will be easy and effortless. You don't really have to force anything. Imagine going to a place that you never want to be, and you always have to put on this other face that is not you. It's very uncomfortable. um okay, sounds like me. So here's the thing too. There was a story where this was before Pokemon got was popular again. It's like I said, it was almost embarrassing, but I didn't really want to share it with a lot of people back then, because they were like, "Oh my God, you're 30 something years old almost, and you still freaking playing with Pokemon cards?" Like, yeah, like I had it since I was a kid, and the reason why I hold on to those things as a kid is because that was my prime. Like, I was the most happiest, the most freest form, and whenever I had a card, I didn't care about anybody else. Girls, like nothing. Like, I just got this holographic Magneton or Charizard or whatever, and I'm like the happiest kid, and that's it. So I ended up as like an older guy now, late 20s, almost 30s. And I was like, I want to buy 1,000 sleeves, like the more quote unquote expensive, more expensive sleeves, to protect all the cards that I cherished as a kid. I didn't want to tell anybody. And it's because people wouldn't understand. But what I should have done was, if people ask me what's new, I'll be like, yeah, I just bought 1,000 sleeves of these more quote unquote, you know, they're like 10 times more expensive than regular sleeves at the time, which is like 10-ish cents per sleeve, as opposed to like about $1 for 100. This is $10 for 100, right? So I bought a whole bunch just so that I could protect it. But what I should have felt more comfortable saying was, hey, I bought 1,000 sleeves, and I bought it for all the cards that I wanted to sleeve up, because these meant a lot to me as a kid. And then you will start seeing other people's reactions towards that. Are they supportive? Are they not? And if they're not supportive with that, or they're kind of bringing you down, well, guess what? You don't have to be around those people. But if they want to be around you, they will accept you. And the best negotiating position is to always walk away and mean it. If people don't like you for who you are, you can walk away. And it shows that you have value within yourself, and that you respect yourself. And once you respect yourself, people will start to respect you some more. And so that's why you have to be willing to walk away, but not being hostile and walking away. Just like, oh, okay, we're just not alike, and that's okay. So, um, last last slide. Allow yourself to be free. Love is allowing. The same thing as not only loving yourself, you want to love other people the same way. You got to allow them to be free. Don't be controlling. And the reason why is because when you control, it goes against the flow of life. No one wants to be caged. No one wants to be controlled. No one wants to be told what to do. Now, as a kid, I get it. It's different. You don't really know any better. But you gotta allow them to still be them without restricting them from doing X, Y, and Z. Now, if they're doing something bad, obviously you wanna correct it, but then how you correct it really matters. Just like the incident of my niece not being able to go up to that person and order something. Like, she was shy, and I remember that feeling as a kid. I couldn't order anything. And I had a friend like that too, that would cry because he couldn't order a movie ticket for himself. And we're like, yo, if you're not going to buy the movie ticket, then you shouldn't even be around us. It's like, we're kids, okay? So obviously, he was like, forget it then, that I'm just not going to buy the ticket. And he just never really hung out with us afterwards. But what we could have, we knew what we knew now. It's like more words of encouragement. It's like, no, let's get this. Like, yo, let me help you out. Let's get this. I mean, now it's easy, but like, yeah, let's get this movie ticket together. Because in your world as a kid, your biggest world is your classroom. Like, that's all you know. And if you're not accepted in that class, well, guess what? If I leave and people make fun of me, I'm gonna die. That's what you think about. You don't think about the world as how we view it today as when we're adults. And so that's why whatever our world, it's like our world is our family. So if we're not accepted by our family, then we can't be this. And if we're not accepted, then I'm gonna die. Like, that's all we know. But now you do know better, and that you're allowed to make the mistakes, and you're allowed to do the things that might not be uh, socially accepted. But hey, as long as you own up to be yourself, you will find a better way to approach it every single time. Okay, so don't try to be controlling. Don't control how you feel. Don't conceal how you feel, because when you control how you feel and control other people, you're going against the flow of life. Nobody wants that. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable is a very good place to start. And remember when I was like, listen to your voice? What are you saying to yourself in silence? And when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're not really saying that I'm weak, that this is who I am. You're like, these are these are areas of my life that I'm not that good at. And if I'm not that good at it now, how? How can I get better? There are books. I guarantee you there are books on things that you want to become better at. Okay? And maybe if not books, there's video forms now. There's people that's going to be talking about it. There's going to be podcasts. There's people that you can hang out with, right? If you don't know, like if I wanted to know more about golfing and I don't know anything about golf, well, guess what? All I have to do is attend a golf course, or start going to a place that does golf. Same thing for me in the gym. I didn't know anything about the gym. I didn't know what these muscles were, right? Or shoulders and all that. I didn't know that there was a specific fundamental way on how to brace yourself before lifting. I didn't know that. And once I knew it, I was like, wow, this is like, it could change the way on how you approach life. And so when I lift things now, I lift in a way where I won't hurt myself, or I try to avoid it. And because I didn't know that there was a fundamental on bracing yourself. And that requires research, or you can learn it from someone. But then that's why, like there's I have all these other friends that hurt themselves, and I'm like, you're so much younger than me. How come you hurt? And I'm like at least 10 years older sometimes, 5, 10. Maybe sometimes I'm only 2 years older, but they're always hurting themselves. I'm like, okay, maybe you just haven't found the right concept on how to lift things. Oh, it wasn't even a heavy object. Yeah, but it's how you approached it. So it's how you show up to certain things. Same thing. If you don't know how to approach a relationship, there are other people out there that can help you on how to approach, right? But everything starts within yourself. So don't allow your voice to tell you that you're weak, okay? And what I mean by don't is simply just saying don't doesn't really give you a solution. It doesn't give you any solution. So the real question is, how can I allow my voice to speak to me better? That is a better question. So instead of saying don't do that, better question is how can I? How can I? So, oh, I can't afford this. I think Rich Dad Poor Dad said that. He's like, oh, I can't afford that. No, it's how can I afford that? How can I? That way you're moving towards it. So, I don't know how to speak to a lot of people. Well, how can I speak to a lot of people? How can I speak in front of a crowd? How can I? And it's by confidence. But taking action, you build confidence and courage. I couldn't dance in front of people. Now I don't care if people were to stare at me. I don't care. And even now to this day, where when I'm at a gym, I love listening to Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson has this this form of freeness. So as you know, you guys see me dancing to choreographies, and I like to dance to choreographies. It because it looks cool on camera, and like other people could follow along with it too. But what I found that is most freeing is the fact that I could play Billie Jeans, or I could play Smooth Criminal, or Beat It or Bad or whatever, and I'm just enjoying that time, and not only enjoying it but really deeply feel that freeness in me, and I just move so freely that, hey Mitchell, if you repeat the same move 10, 20 times, go for it, because that's how you feel. And I allow myself to be free. So, and the moment I allow myself to be free in that place, and I don't think about what other people think about me now, it's even more freeing. So I just learned something new, and this is something that kind of held me back. It's like, oh, what will other people think if I'm not doing this choreography nice? Or if I don't do it, it's like, no, it's really your own self-talk. People don't care. It's like I probably do the same moves over 100 times. If they don't like it, they don't have to stare. That's okay. They can move away. As long as I'm not distracting them, everybody has a right to their own opinions. Just like you have your own opinions about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock, right? Everybody has their own. Everybody has the right to their own feelings. It doesn't mean your feelings are correct based off actions, but if you feel a certain way, you feel a certain way. So you can't take it personal. Don't take it personal. It's about how you can move forward. Um, so, like I said, the real question is usually it's not that I can't, it's how can I? And your subconscious thought and your conscious thought, um, that's why I want to ask you. Here's a good question. What what are some things that gives you anxiety? That's a good question. What gives you anxiety? Me singing. Like I can't sing in front of people. This is bad. So guess what? Mitchell will sing one day. I'm gonna do that. Okay? Because I was told my entire life that I should not sing, that I'm not good. And I don't care. I don't care if I'm not good. If my voice starts cracking, well guess what? Oh freaking well. What's up, Smeagol? Saturday morning wisdom. Thank you. Appreciate it. Um I don't know if I know you, Smeagol. Are you what's that? Are you Yeah, who are you? Let me know who you are. I like to know who you are too as well. But appreciate it. Appreciate your thought. So what gives you anxiety? Answer that question. And what do you fear? What are you fearing? What are you fearful of? Remember, if you don't know where a good place to start, us humans, we have two greatest fears: fear that we're not going to be loved, and fear that we're not good enough, that we're inadequate. So most people have those. Most people have those. Just know that if it's not your time right now, it doesn't mean it's not going to be that forever. Now, if you believe that it's never going to be yours, well, then guess what? It's a self fulfilling prophecy at that point. It's going to be like that. And yeah, that is what I have for today. And I would love to know what are your thoughts? What stood out to you? Leave in a comment below or type it out right now on the live. And I want to know a little bit more about you guys. And I feel like there's always going to be a point where you could be yourself a little bit more. Be yourself a little bit more. And the people that has been watching me, you're comfortable with this, but who are new and that don't feel comfortable doing that, just allow yourself to be yourself, because then you could be free. And I like what Julian does. He does something that I don't even feel comfortable doing, but guess what? If I don't feel comfortable doing it, I'm gonna do it. So it's about screaming, right? So he was like, he would get someone on stage, and he was like scream. He was like, ah, and it's like you could tell there's some resistance. And then so Julian, he's like, ah, and then he's like, he's like, I want you to scream louder than me, like each time, scream louder and louder, and I want you to free yourself. Keep screaming, and and people was like, ah, and then like some people have tears and then everyone's like a standing ovation after that. It's because they are allowed to be themselves, and when you're allowed to be yourself, you're set free. And so that's why it's really listening to your inner thoughts and what's holding you back and what you're resisting. And like I said, what you resist persists, and what you look at disappears. All right. So that is today's show. I'll hang out with y'all for a little bit longer, getting to know you guys, depending on what you guys are doing. Maybe another few minutes, and yeah, I'm gonna drink this and enjoy the rest of my day in a bit. So yeah, Smigo, what's up? Who else is still here? I can't see. Sarah, Shevlin. And if you guys don't have any questions, you're setting me free. You're setting me free. I get to go eat because it's been like an hour and a half, and I'm getting hungry. Me. Okay, Chevelin. What stood out to you? And I'm actually really glad because Chevelin actually did her homework, and um, yeah, it's nice to see that when people say they're gonna do something, they actually do it under their own will. Like no one pressured her. She just did it because she wanted to become better. And now that you're more aware of it, and when you're aware of things, you move towards it. Just like you have it an aim. Sorry. I normally do. I'm super exhausted. It's okay, Sarah. I know you're feeling a little under the weather, but you will get better. You will get better. Give it, like I said, you gave it a few days, and now you scheduled your appointment, so that's good. You're making necessary steps. You're making necessary steps. Um, let me see. Let me find something. Um, I didn't have a summary today. Feel better, Sarah. Let's see. Yeah. What gives you energy? What gives you energy? How many times do you spend your days, or how much time do you allow yourself to spend time with you and your thoughts? Because I think we have too many things that distract us nowadays, right? We have too many things that could distract us. We come back home, look at our phone. There's Netflix. There's music. There's lights. Um, there's Pokemon. I have 3 to 4 hours. I have 3 to 4 hours. Um, what do you mean, 3 to 4 hours? For a lot of people that says they don't have a lot of time. Time isn't really an excuse. It's priorities. Because Chevelin works 7 days a week, or does something 7 days a week, and yet she still find time to always come in here and spend time for herself, or whether it's for herself, or spending time to learn about herself a little bit more. She always shows a lot of time. Sarah too as well. They always try to find a way, and it's because they're working towards on becoming the person they want to attract. And just know that this is going to be a lifelong journey, and it's almost a year for you, Chevelin. It's almost a year, and look at how far you've become. Like you already got. Imagine you do it for a decade. You you wouldn't even recognize yourself, to a point where people was like, wow, like there's something different about you. But then it becomes your identity. It becomes your identity, and that's who you are. When I come home, sometimes I like to sit down. June 1st is it's this year. It's the year. Yeah. Wow. See. So when I come home, I like to tackle more difficult tasks. I can't talk right now. More difficult tasks. Um, whether it's unpacking, getting everything out first. All the tedious things that I don't really want to do. It's like, because when you go out, you got to do all these, and when you come back, you bring stuff in, and then you got to unpack, you got to put it in the right place. Sometimes you got to break down boxes. It's like, it's tedious. I don't want to do that. But if I notice that when I do it, it's going to be a lot easier to continue to do it. And then I allow myself to cook, and after I'm done cooking, I pack it into this like nice little Tupperware, so that all I have to do is just either put it in the fridge, whatever I don't eat later, and I have something prepared. So it's about preparation, prior preparation. Facts. Smeagol. Let me ask you a question. Did you find me in Instagram, or did you find me on YouTube, or because I don't know who, I can't see who subscribes to me or not, and I know that most people that knew me from before, um, that I dance, and I still love dancing. It's just that, um, what I feel most fulfilled is helping people by listening to their problems. Let's see. Is it just grocery and pack and we came back home? It is just cooking to it. Yeah, it is just going to the grocery. Yeah, it's like going to the grocery store, come back, unpack. Especially if you go to Costco, y'all know what it's like to go to Costco and come back. You always have a whole bunch of things, and you gotta sort these, you gotta organize these, and it doesn't help that you have all these little humans just running around. Ooh, I want this, I want that. Oh yeah, go ahead, right? And you just like, and it's like, where's this, where's that? And it's like, it's just constant. But you know, if you have time, peace and time for yourself, it's like you're allowing yourself to do a lot of things, and then you get the ball rolling. But imagine just waking up every day and you don't fix your bed, and you're always groggy, and you're in a bad mood, and all this and that. It's just like, okay, like, of course your day's going to suck because you wake up bitter all the damn time, and then you're always trying to find a way back in, so that it's like, but most people don't. They're like, this day sucks. It's like, do you really want to be around those people? I don't even want to be around myself, let alone drag people into how I feel. And I want to make sure that I am happy and I am in a positive state where it's beneficial for me and it's beneficial for the other person before they view me as this person. It's like, okay, who is Mitchell? Who is this person? Why is this person smiling? Why is this person having a good day? What makes this, what gives this person energy? I want to understand that too, because most people, they live in misery, and I don't want people to live like that. I don't. And if you're at a place where you're working towards something and you come back home and you only have an hour or two left of free time so that you could unwind, well, guess what? Then you have at least an hour or two to work on the things that you need to do, so that you don't have to be there forever. But that's the best relationship that you could ever have. It's the best relationship that you can have with yourself. And if you love yourself, other people will love you too, eventually. It might not be right away, but you don't need another person to make you happy. You are happy. So you're complete with or without that person. Is that other person needs to be a addition to your life. That's what it's all about. And the reason why Will Smith has a whole lot of money, has Oscars, has, I don't know what, 60 whatever million followers and all this, and yet he can't even look at what happened. Look at what happened. It's because he chose Jada to be his world. He chose Jada to be his world. And women don't want that. Women wants a winner. They don't want to win. And right now she's winning, and she doesn't like that. She doesn't like it. She wants a man that can make her feel feminine, that to bring out that feminine energy, to open up, to receive love. She he she what she really wants is to have a person to, so that she could bond. So like, oh baby, do you really love me or something? Just being open, talking about relationships. What are we? How are we? A little uncertainty, and then you reassure her, and she feels good about it, and she's like, okay, I'm back. I'm back. Yes, learn to love yourself first, so you so you will know how to love someone genuinely, right? Because people don't know how to really love themselves. They know how to have fun. So and it's false. It's these false things that we attend to, like going out to clubs on Fridays, and you know, on Friday nights or Saturday nights, and having fun, and that is great temporarily, but it's not your. Just be careful. I forgot where I read this, but don't quote me on it just yet. But it went somewhere along the lines of, if it's in your body, it's fine. I'm assuming doing like temporary, simple pleasures. If it's in your body, it's fine. But when it becomes your mind, it's not, because that's when it consumes you. Like, if you need the other person to make you happy, and it becomes a part of your mind, then it's not it's not going to sustain. It's not going to be sustainable. All right, Sarah. I hope you feel better. I also have to end this now. I'm starving. But yeah. Let me close this out. I'm gonna close this out. What am I? Yeah, love this. All right, good. Bye. Bye, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you. But anyways, that is all for the show for today. If you guys do find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. You guys could also show your pledge on Patreon as well. It's going to be $1.49 a month if you guys are interested. But anyways, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Actually, no, Instagram Live this coming Friday. So if you're watching this coming Friday, I'm going to do a episode with my friend Bonnie. We're going to be talking about relationships and what is love. And if you guys are interested, it's going to be my Instagram Live, 6:30 Pacific time. That said, I'll see you guys then, and have a good rest of your weekend. Peace out.